everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Jake Reads Your Comments number...
Damn colonials. It's Independence Day today.
Oh, okay.
So
right. I'll kind of allow that one. So, as I said, I'm going to read your comments to Jake, and I guess he's going to respond. This should be called Jake Responds to Your Comments. That makes way more sense.
I read them, though. That's the only way I can respond to them is if I read them.
Okay, whatever.
Reading has primacy over the response.
All right, well, anyway. Some of these are from the Discord, by the way, which we have.
Yeah. Yep. It's in the links in the description if you want to be part of it.
Abraham Gary says, Dear Hugo, aw, you stole one from me. With you being the age you are and the meme master of TBR, oh, I didn't know I had that title, how would you explain memes to someone from the 90s as they're close enough to conceptualize the internet, but with social media being a very new or even unknown concept? Send Gary the commisexual. I don't know what commisexual means.
Well, they're an anarcho-communist. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
That's what that banner means. And he's the reason that communism is banned from fucking Discord right now. So I'm actually going to let you take the first stab at this because I did steal it, but I just couldn't let it sit there.
How would I don't think memes would even be that hard to explain to someone from the 90s.
How do you explain memes to a person? Okay, say for instance, you get Sponge Mock. All right, you have the Sponge Mock meme. Explain it to me during the 90s when like MySpace was like almost a thing.
Well, it's not that hard to like seriously, if I was to explain something like that, I'd be like, "Hey, so you know the internet, that thing that's a new thing, it's a way of communicating. Well, in the future it becomes one of the primary ways. It becomes bigger than you know, telephone and stuff like that for communications with people. It also becomes a primary form of entertainment, even surpassing television in many ways. You know, like the Macarena? You know how people are really into that? Fads. You know, fads.
Because it's the 90s.
Right. A meme is an internet fad, is what it is. It's a joke that a bunch of people get in on, and it's funny for a while, and then everyone gets sick of it. It's really not that hard to explain. I don't know why people think internet memes are a new thing. Memes aren't new. It's just the form they've taken has changed with the internet age.
I think it's less about the concept of a meme and more about the structure of the meme. Like memes in general, like it started with like Rage comics and like I'm trying to remember the first memes, like the Success Baby. Those things were more just responses to other things, and then people started putting words on them. You remember? It was more of a reactionary. It was more like putting an emoji in return from a text, and then eventually they become like their own little communication themselves. And now some of them are meta as fuck, like the blank screen meme.
Well, then all you'd have to do is explain memes started as these internet trend jokes, but then as it went on, the jokes started building on each other until it becomes less and less inclusive and more ironic. I don't think it's a hard concept. Memes aren't that crazy, guys. I know we joke about memes and they're a stupid little thing, but they're just a new joke. They're a new kind of joke. That's all it is. They're just jokes. Memes are just a new genre of joke. Okay? That's it. It's just like, oh, you know, knock-knock jokes, you know, dead baby jokes, you know, your mama jokes. Some people know memes. It's just a kind of joke. It's not hard to understand.
I remember telling dead baby jokes. People always thought they were like crazy, and I was like, why? These are super funny. I forgot, like even from an early age, I was an edgelord. Why
do you put a baby in a blender feet first?
Why?
So you can see the expression on its face.
I guess the classic. How do you what's the difference between a garage full of bricks and a garage full of dead babies?
What?
I can't empty out my garage full of bricks with a pitchfork.
I've heard that, but with bowling balls, yeah.
There you go, yeah. Although I think bowling balls, you have a better chance of success with a pitchfork just based on
I guess
the holes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Aura says, Jake, when is Hugo gonna get #rooved?
They've been asking me to add this hashtag to an episode for like weeks. Are you aware of what roofed means at this point or no?
Yeah, it's like a meme that started on our Discord, which I've never been on. I know I need to go on it. Holy shit, guys, I get it. Someone accidentally said it instead of roofied.
Yeah.
That's the joke, as far as I'm aware. That's the beginning and end of that joke.
But he misspoke and it became a thing, and then we mockingly made it a meme, and then it became its own word, and it means all sorts of shit. And now it means, like, if something's good, you say that's real ruved or something. Like, it took a life its own. It didn't even, it started off with just, and now the guy who said that, his name is ruved, and I forgot his actual name.
You know how you refused to say Glanderson Booper?
I don't recall.
I think this is going to be my Glanderson Booper.
Anyways, it's a lot of fun in the Discord, and yeah, that was basically just shout out to them. It doesn't have to be any longer, but that means, by the way, that question means, when are you coming to the Discord?
Yeah, I know. Eventually.
I don't.
Eventually.
Okay. Eventually. That's a. Wow, that's a tepid response. That's like you told Hugo you loved him, and he goes, "I like spending time with you too."
God fucking Zilla, good name, says, Dear Hugo and Jake, I've loved you guys from the start and everyone loves what you cover, but do you guys yourselves ever get exhausted, bored of maintaining the Bible Reloaded, Quran Reloaded channels, and wish you guys could dedicate to unpopular culture?
This is a good question. I like the idea. I like that someone's at least cognizant that we do grind at times. I think because we're a comedy channel, most of the content we make, at least the production, this part of it, the recording, is usually pretty fun. Like, very, very rarely do I not look forward to recording, and it's usually on a day I'm just having a shitty day. It doesn't really have to do with what we're about to talk about, because I'm interested in the Bible and the Quran, and I'm interested in, all the things we talk about on Unpop, usually. Although, if I'm not interested in it, I'm usually interested in being mad about the thing I'm not interested in, so that's fine. But I do think both of us really, really like what we do on Unpop.
Unpop is it's relieving in a lot of ways, because a lot of this stuff that we talk about on Bible Reloaded, super depressing, super lame, super I don't know, just shit we've heard a million times. So it's
this
nice
next video coming up is an example of all those things.
Yeah, so
real taxing.
I wish Unpop became a little more popular, and it actually is starting to now because we changed the format. It's getting more views and stuff. Understandably, the format's better now.
If you guys like what we do, honestly, subscribe to Unpop and watch some of the stuff. I try weird food sometimes. Hugo and I talk about every pop culture reference that we've made on here, pretty much we talk about at length on there. And it's still fun and funny, and I don't know.
But even if it's whatever, it's still a thing I enjoy doing, so.
Yeah, it doesn't really pay the bills at this point, but it does. It helps with the Patreon overhead. Yeah, basically at this point is what it covers. So yeah, it's more of a labor of love at this point than anything else. But I really like what we do over there. And if you only watch one thing over there, I think you should be our 5-part miniseries called The Adventures of Kenneth, where Hugo and I role play a non-violent old man who disagrees with your lifestyle in Fallout New Vegas, and it's a lot of fun and fucking absurd. It's like a long-form chick tract, honestly.
A little bit, yeah.
I think you really like that. Anyways.
From Twitter, Tyler Paul says, is rum and coke a breakfast food? Neither rum or coke are breakfast items. Why would you assume combining them would do some magical...
Maybe it does, I don't know.
Like it's photosynthesis, just add sunlight, and that's how shit really gets done.
I think we both agree that this is indeed not a breakfast food. But that leads to a larger question, which is, what is the most embarrassing thing you've had for breakfast? Because I guarantee both of us have made just shit decisions for breakfast. And a lot of people, the first thing you think of is like cold pizza. Maybe it's been left out all night even. It's like dry and weird, and you eat it anyway. It's like cardboard. But I think ice cream is the thing I ate in the morning once that I...
You know what's weird? You know what my answer is? Cake! Together we can have a little breakfast birthday party, okay? In a high school, like around my birthday, the week of my birthday, obviously you get a cake for your birthday. So, and I got up the earliest just because of how early I had to get up for school in my house. So I'd be up and make my own breakfast or whatever. So I'd eat cake that week, and my parents either wouldn't know or would know, but be like, whatever. And, yeah.
Yeah? Weird.
That's why I got fat for a reason, by the way. There's a reason I'm having to try and lose weight now.
It was the cake breakfasts.
It's not just the cake breakfast, but I think the story of the cake breakfast should give you all the information you need to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, kind of the essence of the cake breakfast in general is the reason why. Yeah, I agree. Most of the time, though, my daily breakfast tends to be 2 eggs, 2 pieces of toast. And that's pretty boring.
That's
but
pretty
I like
standard,
it.
yeah.
I love eggs so much.
Yeah.
What do you eat in the morning? Do you eat
If
breakfast?
I don't usually do breakfast, I'm not a big breakfast food fan unless I'm in the mood for it. I usually just go straight to lunch. I usually do 2 meals a day, not 3. But I'll do eggs.
I usually do breakfast dinner.
Yeah, I do eggs though. Eggs
or
are
maybe
good.
A snack in between.
Eggs, hash browns, bacon or sausage. Those are my.
Oh man,
mix
how do you cook your bacon?
I don't like it too. I think so many people burn their fucking bacon so bad. I like it to be. I like a little give, but I like it to be a little. I don't know how to describe it. I like it a little crunchy, but not so done that it starts
like the ends are
tasting...
crunchy. Yeah.
Yeah, but
do you cook in the pan though, right?
Oh yeah.
Oven.
I've heard it gets really smoky.
Oh what? Just don't cook it that hot, man. Oh, you gotta cook it at 350. 350 on a rack in the oven. Get it off. The grease falls to the bottom. You put a little tin foil down there. Easy cleanup. Perfect bacon every time. A little cracked pepper on it. Shit. It'll change your life. Also, not cheap bacon. Don't put fucking Hormel. Does Hormel make bacon?
I know.
Oscar Mayer. Don't put that on there. Like, get some Wright's brand bacon. Spend the money.
Also from Twitter, Percocet says, which one was better, God's Not Dead or God's Not Dead 2? Oh, easy.
Oh, it's God's Not Dead 1.
Yeah, God's Not Dead 2 sucked, like in a boring way, like not even in a it's fun way. God's Not Dead 1 is one of my favorite so bad it's good movies. It's
It's got all the things you want in it. I mean, first and foremost, it's got Sorbo being a complete asshole the whole time.
Yeah.
Then you have this cancer lady who is friends with the newsboys for some reason. Dean Cain with his sick mom. He doesn't care about his sick mom. Then you have I forget his name at this point. What's the main character's name?
Josh.
Josh. I was gonna say Jeremy. It's a very white bread name. You got Josh and his relationship problems, I guess. And then there's the Asian kid, and of course, the pièce de résistance, the biracial pastoral bromance. And, which, by the way, is an emoji on our Discord.
No fucking way. By the way, not only that, Kevin Sorbo's a better actor than Melissa Joan Hart. I know we're basically comparing like Burger King to McDonald's here, but let's be real, one is better than the other. So it's just true.
Yeah.
Melissa Joan Hart, I'm sorry. I like Sabrina. I like Clarissa. Maybe retire. Maybe you're good. Maybe you brought the world what you needed to bring, and now you can just hang out.
Wait, you didn't mention Melissa and Joey.
Oh, shit. That is a thing that exists.
With Joey Lawrence,
I forgot,
whose haircut was fucking ridiculous.
I forgot they combined their dying careers to try and sustain both of them for a bit longer. I forgot.
It was like both of them trying to get on a lifeboat from the Titanic that was already too full.
Yeah. Also from Twitter, Jericho K. What series on either channel is your favorite to create, and what's your favorite movie from the reviews you've done? Ooh.
Good question. What's my favorite series to do?
You gotta think about it, because I know.
I think like the chick tracks that are the most fun, right?
The most fun to do, probably chick tracks. I also really like the Bible studies, but if I'm being honest, the thing that when the video is done, I like the most is the movie reviews. Now, let me make it clear.
Yeah.
When I'm watching the movies and writing them and even sometimes recording them.
Fuck, editing them.
And editing. Oh my god, the editing for those is a fucking nightmare.
But the end product is always one of my favorite things. Yeah.
I do like the reviews, and I like the jokes we make, and I like the content. Yeah. It's just, like, think about it. The review that you end up watching, guys, it takes probably 20, 30 minutes, 40 at the most for you to watch. Bear in mind not even including Jake's man hours. My man hours into that by that point are at least probably at least 20 hours.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not including because Hugo has basically edited most movie reviews we've ever done by far. I've done a few of them, but not a lot. He just said, well, for a little bit, my computer couldn't handle it. and then he just got really good at it, and that's kind of been the thing Hugo does. But goddamn, it's it's a rough go of it. They're long as fuck. I try to watch on 2 times speed sometimes, depending on the movie, and you're taking notes to try to collate your thoughts while you're doing it, so we don't have to do several takes because the recording would go even fucking longer. The recordings can go upwards of 90 minutes. Sometimes
the longest we ever did, I think, was 2 hours.
Right, and you're getting a 40-minute video, so think about that.
Remember the time we did a whole movie review and recorded it, and then something happened to the recording and we had to re-record it? That also sucked.
What movie was that?
Oh, I can't imagine it makes a difference. I bet if we listened to the movie reviews, we could guess, though, because we'd hear which one we sound fucking...
Yeah.
We probably sound like, in that review, like, here's a dick joke. Because we're doing it for the second fucking time. You know?
That's funny. Yeah, so I think... What's the favorite movie from the reviews you've done? Is it still God's Not Dead? Or I think one of my favorite ones that we've done as far as like the reception we've gotten is probably Jesus Camp.
Yeah.
Like I really like that was more of a conversational thing because it was before we kind of refined how we do this, but a lot of people really appreciate that review on both sides.
I feel like we should come up with another thing where we do sort of that more conversational on TBR. Like, I still want to do the reviews, but, you know, something.
I think maybe we could do a follow-up video where we talk about them.
Maybe. That'd be a
like
good
we
idea.
can talk about each review.
Sure.
I don't know. We also have something else in the works for another concept that we're working on, so it could be similar to that as well. But yeah, I think that's really the answer. Movie reviews in general, but this next one coming up. We're going to have to do 2 parts, and you'll see why. Holy shit. We've talked about it, but this next one is going to be very, very deep. Probably the most detailed one we've ever done.
We've actually we're recording it right after this, too. So
yeah. We'll be wearing the same clothes.
Brent Myron says, with all the anti-insert group people don't believe needs a group-ers out there, what cause do you believe actually has a cause today? Ooh.
So, because basically all groups that have a cause tend to be anti-something, I asked him for clarification on Twitter. I thought this was interesting because I don't know that I do subscribe to a group. And I can't think of one that I'm, like, on board with fully all the time. I'm, like, besides a sports team, and even then I bitch all the time. So, I don't really know the answer to this question. I am anti-fascism, but I'm not a fan of Antifa or Antifa.
I don't know how you're supposed to
Antifa. I'm not a fan of the guys in the black masks that like riot all the time. I do think that like gun violence against black people is an issue. Here comes the people saying, black people commit more crimes. It's a much deeper issue than that. Anyways, but I don't think BLM, Black Lives Matter, does a good job in representing that cause, especially the longer it has existed. I'm not a Republican or a conservative, but I think the Democrats are trash. There's just not a group that I can really stick with besides, I don't know, our fan base, and even then, some of you are cunts.
I don't even like myself sometimes. You think
Right.
I'm gonna fucking subscribe to a goddamn group that seriously though, obviously there's no group you're gonna 100% agree with, but I would say that there are causes I am for.
Oh, sure.
I am for net neutrality. I am for reasonable gun laws. I think it's okay for people to own guns, but I think they should be registered and background checks should be fine. A universal database I'm not against.
I think insurance is a big deal there too, like liability insurance. I'm for like healthcare and thinking that that's a right as a citizen. We should have baseline healthcare to all. And obviously that's not free. You pay for it, but I'm willing to do that for you and someone else and myself.
I agree.
Private prisons and like more of a libertarian slant on drugs, I think. Although I want them a little bit more regulated than I think Hugo does as far as like where you can do certain drugs, but
sure.
Like I'm more of a heroin hotel person. I think Hugo's more of a heroin block party.
What else am I pro? Obviously, I'm like pro LGBTQ, RSTUV rights,
Yeah.
all that shit.
I'm anti speech police though.
Sure.
The thing is, like a lot of people like to be, I'm anti SJW. I'm a free speech warrior. It's like you can't lock yourself into one side or the other because sometimes the opposite has a good point and you're gonna have to listen, right? If you're a reasonable person. So that's why I don't really subscribe to groups that much.
Sure. I think the minute I say I'm I think when you do kind of, whether you consciously do it or unconsciously do it, once you decide you're part of a group, you're automatically going to a certain extent, when someone from another group comes to you with a different argument, shut down. So
Yeah.
there are things I might agree with, men's rights people on, or feminists on, but I don't, in my head, I'm not thinking, I am a staunch this or that or the other. I take things people say as they come, and I evaluate them as they come, and I try and do my best to come to an even-handed, the best interpretation of reality I have, and even then, I am very not confident in it, despite what I may put on as airs. So, I think that confident uncertainty is how I choose to live my life, and I suggest you all do the same.
Sure, sure.
Believe the things you believe until you realize you're a fucking idiot. There you go.
I think it's hard to, like, especially if you're like, I'm a feminist or I'm a men's rights activist, but how about you just value women's and men's rights in general and understand that both have things that we need to fix? And whether you call that egalitarian or you just call that feminism, which some people do, like I know that I have professors that consider that feminism. It is both sexes, but it started because women's rights, so it just, the name carried over. And obviously now that has changed a little bit, especially.
It's changed in the public consciousness. That is still the dictionary definition of feminism, though.
Right, that's what I mean. I think colloquial terms are more relevant and important than most dictionary definitions anyway. Unless you're making an argument on the internet. And so, I don't know, and it's just stuff like that. I think the feminism-meninism comparison is the best way to think about it, because it's really hard to be a reasonable person and not go, yes, certain times, certain points of these people are valid. So, like, even conservatives and or libertarians specifically, not really conservatives, red people, or anyone in the liberal sphere, I think you line up a little bit until you get to the government part. You know what I mean? For the most part, like, I think liberty and the ideas behind that are important. But once you say I'm a libertarian, you can no longer be for socialized medicine. So it's like, and we'll get to that in a second, by the way. I just wanted to, I don't know. I also wouldn't box myself into to a thing. The only thing I'm confident in is that I'm an atheist, but more of a, I don't know. That's not really a thing that can't change. Yeah. By the way, Jesus, hit me up. I think Jesus would give the best blowjob. He would have to, right? He's got like cosmic blowjob skills. I'm not gay, but like, that's...
You gotta go for the hand job. Stigmata hand job, man. You gotta stigmata.
You know what I like about that joke that you just said?
It rhymes?
That's the first joke you ever wanted to say on this channel. I remember talking about it. And you're like, I just want to talk about the fucking hand job from Jesus.
Not only, that's how you can tell I've progressed in the past 5 years. Since then, I added a rhyme to the joke. Oh, good. A question from an Ask Hugo. Thief. Mr. Thought Crime. Dear Hugo and Jake, if someone cloned a Neanderthal or other non-Homo sapien hominid, should it have human rights? Is there a cutoff for what is considered human? Good question.
I thought this was a good question. Yeah. I think anything with proven sapience ought to be considered a human and therefore have human rights. And you can even expand the definition of human into just sapient, and that's totally fine with me. But I think if we prove dolphins are sapient, you can't fucking just murder them and eat them or take their fins and shit anymore. You can't do it. It's literally the same thing as collecting like black people ears, which isn't a thing we do, but it'd be the same thing if they're sapient. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if Neanderthals or whatever were there and they would have self-awareness and know, I think they would, because they were pretty much the same thing. You got to. You have to.
Yeah, you have
Same
to.
thing with this. It's the AI question too. Like,
It is. It's just the AI question, but in reverse. If anything, this is more relatable to people than an AI question because you're actually related to directly Neanderthals, at least some people, a certain percent, or we can at least say how we're related to them as far as both being hominids. I don't know. But yeah, I'm in favor of sapient rights. That's probably actually in the future what it'll be called. I'll be dead by then. I won't care. But it'll probably be something, instead of human rights, it'll be called, like, sapient rights or something.
I wonder what animals will be involved in that, because I can't imagine that we're actually. I mean, they could technically, if they got the right genetic material, they could try to clone Neanderthals into living again.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
I
don't think they would do that, but I mean, like, humans are weird. Maybe we fuck up and do that.
That would have to be a off-the-books Jurassic Park rented an island in the fucking middle of nowhere type deal, because ethics boards would not be on board for that.
That turns into Westworld Neanderthal prostitution real quick.
Okay, by the way, if anyone wants to buy my screenplay for people who get in an island full of Neanderthals, give me a call. HBO. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it. You're probably going to want to call soon. Yeah, it's actually, I just printed off a script from Westworld, and every time it said cowboys, I just crossed it out and wrote cavemen. They're still dressed like cowboys, though, so I assume it'll save you money on sets.
Cowboy cavemen.
Yeah.
That still sounds like a porn. Yeah.
That's actually the name of the show. It's called Cowboy Cavemen of Moo Mesa. All right, I'm done with this bit.
This is derailing.
If you end a joke with a reference to the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, you're down to one guy in the audience who gets it, and that's what you want to go for. Is get down. A joke isn't funny until only one person gets it. It's even funnier if no one gets it, frankly. So
right? Family Guy knows.
And the final question from a Jake reads, Zach Spencer says, "Why no love for anarcho-socialism?" And then kind of like a middling face, I guess. Read some Bakunin dudes. I don't know who Bakunin dudes. I assume he wrote basically a anarcho-socialist manifesto, though, or something similar, some sort of.
This is like being a member of the terrestrial moon people. They're competing ideas. You can't be both terrestrial and from the moon. That's not a thing. It's they're in direct opposition. Your anarchy can't sustain the state necessary for socialism. And in this case, it would require an abnormally high amount of virtue from people that doesn't exist. What you're talking about is not forced redistribution of wealth, but voluntary redistribution of wealth on a level that it just evolutionarily speaking doesn't make sense. It's an impossible ideal.
Basically, as far as I can find from Google, anarcho-socialism is the idea of resource sharing and whatnot, but without the government, which is what you're talking about, if people weren't following. It depends upon people saying to each other, "Oh, you need healthcare? Let me give you healthcare because you deserve it, despite, there not being a government." In theory, okay. In reality, people don't do that shit. I know that. We're still fighting whether or not poor people should have healthcare. The government is the thing in the way of the people not getting the health care. Trust me.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it relies upon the idea that human beings, or at least enough human beings, are self-sacrificing enough that it would provide enough voluntarily for others, and I don't believe that to be the case. I think you need taxes. I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry. Of course you need taxes. Like... The first thing that happens in this society is the people with the most wealth or resources jump to the top immediately, and then you're now in a feudal system. Like that happens basically overnight. Donald Trump would go from having checked power to actual power. Like what? That's insanity to me. Like Bill Gates would run the West Coast. You don't want that. You don't want that kind of thing. The way governments work, like you need it. You need it to be a self-driving engine. Like think about this. Like who's going to take care of the roads and shit, if all of you are like, do all of you pitch in, or do only the people that live on the stretch of the road that is broken pitch in? What if the people on the stretch of the road that's broken live in a place without, the resources necessary to fix it, and that's why the road's broken in the first place? Then whose responsibility is it? Well, if you have no government, there's no one to tell them that it's their responsibility, and you can't force people to do the thing, because why would they have to do the thing? They have their own road to fix. I win.
Okay, I assume there's someone out there that has a better... I don't know, is anarcho-socialism a thing that has, like...
No.
Like, what am I thinking?
Anarcho-socialism and anarcho-communism are basically the same.
No, but I'm saying, like, is there literature on it? Is it a thing that there have been, like...
Bakunin.
Well, but I'm saying I don't know who that is. I'm saying, is it just some jackass, or is it like a guy who wrote volumes and volumes on the philosophy of a specific governmental ideology that he's behind, and it's got, like... I might disagree, for instance, with libertarians, but I am aware there's tons of literature on strict libertarianism and what it means and how they believe it will function.
Well, that's basically libertarianism, except it's more of a libertarians with teamwork.
Yeah, it's libertarians with teamwork is what it sounds like. But I think Rick and Morty did an actual really good episode about this. Remember that one where they did the purge thing?
Yes. And at the end, they're like, well, what if I want bread?
Yeah, once society breaks down, if you break it down and there's no more government or institutions, human beings are social creatures. The institutions don't exist, like, magically. They exist because human beings instinctually will organize ourselves into groups that, over time, will begin to be recognizable as governmental institutions.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what happened. How do you think we got to this point?
You can call it whatever you want, but let's say you do say, we're anarcho-socialists. We're all gonna agree as a society. Let's call it a social contract, and we're all gonna agree to make sure everyone has what they need, but we all have absolute liberty and no one can make anyone do anything. That works as long as everyone's on the same page until... let's say 20% of your population starts saying, no, the money I make I think is mine and I want that, and the things I get is mine and I want that, and my neighbor needs help, but I'm not going to give it to him because that's none of my business.
So with the rest of society, do they turn on that person and force them to do that?
Or do they somehow have a penalty against that person that will get them to act in accordance with the social contract?
That sounds like a law, Hugo.
That sounds like a law. Now we have a law. Who's going to enforce that law?
That sounds like police, Hugo.
That sounds like police. If you have police, you need taxes. And if you have taxes, you need someone to collect the taxes.
That sounds like a government, Hugo.
And it sounds like you need someone to decide where those taxes are going to go. It's almost like the government, well, big, bloated, and not efficient, is still a thing that we need in some way, shape, or form to decide where resources go in society.
Do you know why, like, people bitch all the time, like, why can't the government be better? Or why is it so inefficient? Because it's made of people.
People suck. Believe it or not, this is genuinely the best we can fucking do. Have you considered the government isn't this perfect little thing because everyone has disagreeing opinions on what the government should even be? Yeah, it sucks. It's because we're all fucking still fighting over what it should even be. Or, in your case, if it should even exist. I mean, you're wrong, but...
We can't even decide, like, should kids have lunch at school? Like, of course they should. It's a public school.
There are people who are considering whether or not child labor laws should exist. Whether...
Do you not? Okay, it's... Yes, I want 5-year-olds to stick their hands into large machinery so that we can make sure our cars are well put together. Like,
people are not virtuous enough to be allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. That's why laws exist. And what we're doing is deciding where that line is.
What we're telling you is this idea is retarded, not pragmatic, and not well thought out. So don't subscribe to it. Because it's stupid. That's why everyone, when you bring it up, that's why everyone you probably ever bring this up to is like, no, that's stupid. Because they realize it's stupid. They get a real government.
Anyway, I think that's it. That's all the comments for this week. So, until next time, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
Jake Reed's number, whatever he said at the beginning.
I don't remember.
Was it?
Damn colonials? Goddamn colonials, dirty colonials.
You know why this is going on long? Because right after this we gotta record the fucking movie review. So come back Friday to see why.